Hello everyone, and welcome to the Crimson Market Sleeper PC. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to just make this clear. First time doing this, not sure how to, so let's figure this out together. So first of all, I think I'll start with the case. That's what make it the Sleeper PC in the first place, so let's have a look. So first of all, I've already unboxed this one. This is just an old Pentium 4 case made by Speed. Now, the reason I had already unboxed it is because the box came in a box that was basic, didn't show any packaging, didn't show any information, nothing we need to know about the case. The case itself, so I've already opened it up once before. Let's have another quick squiz. I've already taken out the two screws and chucked them off to the side. And let's pop the side panel off. Now, this side panel has a little air vent for your fans to connect to, which I think is kind of interesting. Now let's set this off to the side, because we're not really going to need to look at that again for a little bit. There we go. Alright, so this is the case. It is ATX power supply. Not ATX. It's an ATX upwards motherboard. This case, though, unfortunately, being an older model in an absolutely amazing condition, though, it did not come with stand lifts for the motherboard. So, if, and I'm pretty sure it won't, the motherboard case doesn't have any, then I will have to grab some, which that's not an issue. I do have some sitting around, I'll just have to find them. So, while we're at it, let's just talk about, well, I don't know, it's a basic case, there's nothing too much. Holds 4 of the old 3.5 drive bays. It holds 2 floppy or like your card readers, those sort of things. And then it holds 4 bays for front drive bays for your disk drives. Basic power button, reset. But this one, it's really all cool because it's not, you'll notice it says it's got USB. Woohoo! In there. 2 USBs, basic front audio and mic ports, which is where it comes down to in here to run them. Basic mic base, reruns, returns. These ones I believe are the same, just for the opposite side. Absolutely correct. And then here's basic front I/O, so it would be power switch, power LED, hard drive LED, reset switch, all of that stuff. Which is, you know, easy peasy. Alright, so that's the case. Let's set this one back off to the side, because it's been viewed. So the start of any computer, when you're building it, the first thing you're going to put in is a motherboard. So let's check out what we're working with today. We got Naurus B850 Elite Wi-Fi 7. So this is their gaming board model, AM5 socket, and there's also PCIe 5 ready for graphics and NVMe, and that's DDR5. Now, let's have a look at what we've got in here. Some packaging. Let's check it out. So this is the motherboard. Well, let's see if we can pull it out. This box, because I believe underneath that it's included. Yeah, all its little booklets, a pretty little badge to stick to your computer. Doubt we will. But what it does come with is the Gigabyte G connector, which I love these. Because what it is what you do is you grab your front I/O and you actually slide them in. So in here we have the speaker, power switch, power LED. You slide them all in here in the right, and that gives you the right orientation for the motherboard. Quick, easy, very convenient. One of those Gigabyte does well. What we got here too is just the external antenna for the Wi-Fi card, it's Wi-Fi 7, and a couple side cables, so that's boring. Alright, now, let's come back to this pretty thing. Let's go try it slowly. We're going to set this one up here. Grab this one out of the back. Now, anti-static back, very convenient for using. Now, I/O panel, love the fact that that's attached. Makes installing very convenient. As I mentioned, AM5, it is DDR5 4 sockets, and I believe underneath here should be the NVMe M.2 slots. What else can I say? So it's an ATX, and we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 standoffs for our case. That's not an issue. Alright, what else we got to look at here? Not much, it's very pretty. It does have that, as I said, the Wi-Fi antenna slot, display port, but we won't be using on board, so that's not an issue. And it does come with a 10 gigabit USB-C port, very convenient. Also comes with two 3.2 USBs. 4 more blue 3.2s and a 2.5 gigahertz LAN port. Alright, there's the pretty little motherboard. Alright, let's set this one back off to the side. Let's make sure we can put it in somewhere a little nicely, because we do like our parts to work when we install them. That would be very inconvenient if it was not. Slide that one in there. That way. Flip on the cardboard there. That holds her in place. Alright. Finally, what else? Now, we've talked about the motherboard. Now, what pairs with the motherboard, first of all, foremost, is a processor, a CPU, which today, it looks like we're working with a AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D. Brilliant for gaming. You do not need any better, but you can, if you want to. I know I did. What else can we talk about this one? I believe it's... Actually, I can't remember how many cores it was. 24 if I remember correctly. Done a bit of a while though. So I had to read about these parts. They took a little longer to get to me than I expected. Pretty basic. Don't really need to go through too much here. It's a CPU. Put that one away again. And we're going to put that one over with that motherboard. What are we pairing that with? Let's check this out. Our RAM. So we're going with Corsair Vengeance DDR5. So this is 6400 megahertz. We have 2 kits, 16 2 cards. So we're going to have 32 gig on each kit, and each kit together 64 gig. That way we can fill all 4 slots on our motherboard. Now for graphics card. Now this is most people's favorite part. It's definitely mine, and because it's really simple to put in. Alright, so today we've gone with the GALAX GeForce RTX 5070, and this is their one-click OC model, which beauty of this one, and you might notice it already, is just the sheer size. Frankly, most graphics cards these days are behemoths, far beyond the size that's necessary. They look cool that way. This one though is very small. As you might notice, there's the size of my hands. It is tiny. So we'll just pull this one out and we'll have a look at it today. As I said, it's the RTX 5070, so 5000 series. And what this one has going for it is not just size, but price. While this is still the 12 gig variant, like all the other 57, there's not no reference size or anything like that. It still only comes in at just over $1,100, which means for a lot of computers where you're going to spend the most on a graphics card compared to most parts, this is a really good one. And it is good to pair with a lot of different ones, especially the 9800 X3D that we've gone with today. So what do we say? It's PCI Express Gen 5. Yep. It's also got one of these new 5th gen ports, which we can have a look from the cable over here. Comes with plug straight in, comes out with 2 standard ports from your power supply. We're going to ignore this cable today because our power supply comes with its own dedicated graphics card with that exact port. Makes things a lot easier than having to run these ugly extensions. And as some people might know, I don't know how many of us, working with an older model case like this, you are a lot more limited on cable management space. So we're going to have to be a little creative with that today. Alright, let's strap this one back away. Same deal, it'll be looked after. Because whoever wins it, I don't want that computer to run. No, I'd be upset if I won a brand new computer and it did not work. That would be a nightmare for me. It would be a nightmare for them. Oh, alrighty. So, I reckon the next thing we should have to spruce through is our power supply. Because the one I went with, we're going to notice, is an ATX. It's the Silverstone, and it's DA 1000R gold, which means it's 1000 watts, gold rated, and fully modular. Now this thing is quite nice, quite a good price compared to most on the market. I believe this is probably the cheapest or one of the cheapest 1000 watt power supplies on the market. Gold rated, and comes with its own dedicated GPU port, so the 12 volt to high power H+, which if I check in here, which will be a bag of cables. Okay, probably be a bit quicker to find. I probably should have looked earlier. There she is. Comes with its own dedicated power cable for that. Plug straight from there to the graphics card and then having to use that. Now, beautiful braided cables, very sturdy, very strong, and frankly I find quite a nice look for a computer. Back in there, what else are we gonna have? We're gonna have the screws. What do you do that? That's not a very fun part. Alrighty, let's set this one off to the side. Let's chuck this one back in this box. We'll set it over here, right out of the way where we don't have to worry about it anymore. Because we're going to pull out the next part. If I remember correctly, the next part we should look at will be this battery. So it's the Forza 135. It's a dual tower air cooler by Cougar, and it is brilliant. It has 1700 support and AM5, which is what we're going to need today. It has 160mm height, which, if I remember correctly, our case had 165. So we are just scraping by, but we are going to get her on. 5mm is plenty, right? Starts ladies. Alright, so what do we got in here? A booklet. What do you do that? And this should be all the mounting brackets, which, again, well, what do you do that? Oh, there we go. So they don't pre-apply the paste. A lot of places do these days. That's fine. Just says Cougar thermal paste. That's reassuring. Yeah, we use that. See what Cougar can do. There's the bracket for the back of the motherboard, Intel, and flash. Oh no, wait, no, it won't be. These ones. if I remember correctly. It's been a few months since I put one with these ones, but if I remember correctly, it is these ones for the AM5 setup. And then there is those ones. If I remember correctly, they connect to each other. It's weird, and then ta-da! Well, we'll figure that out later. That's why we do these. Let's check one back in there. We'll check everything back in this little box. No, I'm gonna grab a drink. A bit parched. I don't think I should talk this much. Just ask me. Alright. All the boring buckets. Oh, yeah, I'm later. They're all boring. Then, just take off the rubbers. And yes, it is. It is a dual fan. It should be dual 140s, not 120s, which is almost certainly, yeah, that's right. Cool, two different size fans, but 50 dude up. Here's the block here, let's pull that out. Let's have a look at this one. As I said, dual tower, two fans, you can even mount a third if you've got the room. I don't believe we did. Basic block, we'll use those brackets to mount to the AM5 block later. Now, it should be, there it is, the Cougar screwdriver. They include these, because most people, when they've got to mount in their brackets down here, don't have enough room. Cougar makes the screwdriver extra long. It's just a generic screwdriver. Doubt it costs them more than $1 to make, but slap the Cougar brand on it, makes it look pretty. Alright, so let's chuck these off to the side, because we're pretty much done here, guys, except a couple of little bits and bobs. I believe the M.2 is unaccounted for still. There we go. Yeah, it'll be here somewhere. Or, oops. Now I'm joking, I can see it. Don't think you can, but I can. Right. Perfect. Right, so that's right. This one's actually a funny one. It came with one 140mm and one 120mm. And that was because the 140 sits on the outside while the 120 fits on the inside. That was what I was forgetting before, why it was throwing me off. The fans looked a little different. That's why. Now, on the other side, the other things we've got to look at is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which, let's remember, boring. Yeah, I'm joking. Computer parts are cool. Now, I'll crack this one open to find this one a little nifty. So it's the Silverstone CPF 04 128 PWM fan up. The beauty, this, just the sheer size. It's smaller than my finger in length, maybe too wide. Can't see me. Alright, nothing overly to talk about here. It's just got the 4 ports. Takes one port on the motherboard to run it, one SATA power, one motherboard slot, fan power. Easy peasy, and that'll be the splitter that we'll need to run X fans. So these are the Deep Cool X-Fan 80s. So these are black case fans, and they are only 80mm. They're tiny little ones. That's because when this case was made, a lot of the case fans were only 80mm wide. So, woohoo, thank you Deep Cool for still making them. Now, last thing we've got to look at. And then I think we're done with all the parts today. We've had our chat, we've looked around it all. I've talked about it in small detail. I'm sure I'll do up more one of these days. But right now we're sitting here holding a Crucial P3 PCI Express 3.0 NVMe M.2 SSD. Now this is 4TB with a read-up speed of up to 3,500 megabytes per second. This is just... best way to describe it is if you need bang for your buck. So they are well priced, They are 4 terabytes as mentioned, which is more than what most people need. And they're very small, so if you don't have much clearance on your motherboard, or you want to fit the motherboard's onboard heat sinks on top, this is the perfect one, the P3, and they do make a P3 Plus, which is what we'll be using in our Kitsune, I can't pronounce it properly, Kitsune PC. We'll be using the P3 Plus. That's just crucial to know what they're talking about when it comes to drives. They last, they come with a good warranty, and frankly, I've never had one fail on me. In the years I've had 2 Samsungs, never a Crucial. I've had Crucial drives for 15, almost 20 years now. I believe it's been that long. I could be wrong. I could be thinking of a different brand, but I could be actually. But it's been at least 15. Alright, well that's us done.